no serious efforts were made to get the partners to take haircuts, and one bank offered to take a haircut, and you declined it. I can only think of two possible reasons you would not make then New York President Fed Geithner tried to save the taxpayers some money by seriously negotiating or at least taking up UBS on their offer of a haircut. Sadly, those two reasons are incompetence or a desire to secretly funnel more money to a select few firms, notably Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, and a handful of large European banks. I cannot understand why you do not seek European governments' contribution to this bailout of their banking system. From monetary policy to regulation, consumer protection, transparency, and independence, your time as Fed chairman has been a failure. You stated time and again during the housing bubble that there was no bubble. After the bubble burst, you repeatedly claimed the fallout would be small, and you clearly did not support the systemic risk that you claimed the Fed was supposed to be looking out for. Where I come from, we punish failure, not reward it. That is certainly the way it was when I played baseball, and it is the way across all America presently. Judging by the current Treasury Secretary, some may think Washington does reward failure, but that should not be the case. I will do everything I can to stop your nomination and drag out this process as long as I can. We must put an end to your and the Fed's failure, and there is no better time than now. Your Fed has become the creature from Jekyl Island. Thank you.
Care to respond to that?
Let me just correct one point. First, I'm not sure. I think there was some misunderstanding and misinterpretation of the SIGTARP's report, but we absolutely believed that AIG's failure would be an enormous systemic risk and would have imposed enormous damage, not just on the financial system, and this is the key point, on the entire U.S. economy and on every American. It is not reasonable to talk about letting large firms fail as if that would have no effect on credit extension and on the broader economy. The Lehman example should be enough for everybody. With respect to the counterparties, there's a long discussion there which I won't go into, but I'll just point out just one issue you raised. UBS offered a 2% discount if and only if all the other counterparties would accept one. That was not the case. We did our best to get a reduction there, but given that AIG was not bankrupt and given that we were not going to abuse our supervisory power, we really had no way to create a substantial discount.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to take any more time, but the fact of the matter is AIG was 80% owned at that time by the federal government.
I want to just say, and I'm going to quickly turn to others, let me say, and I disagree with my friend and colleague from Kentucky about the conclusion of what ought to happen in your nomination. But I've got to tell you, Mr. Chairman, I mean, going through that period of that time, when all the headlines were about the $168 million in bonuses that went out to AIG, and virtually no reporting whatsoever on the counterparty issue, and the fact of the matter that we allowed 100 cents on the dollar to go out to the counterparties with little or no negotiation. It just is. I've raised the issue with others before. I don't understand that at all, and most Americans don't. That was billions of dollars. One company alone was $12.5 billion. And it's just hard to accept the notion that we couldn't negotiate with the counterparties at that time.
We had no leverage. If we didn't pay off, they would say you're bankrupt.
Well, we wrote a check for $180 billion to AIG. If we hadn't done that, they would have been in trouble.
Well, to AIG, but not to the
counterparties would have been in trouble too.
Well, that's all true, but the most of the firms were foreign. We had no authority or leverage over them.
You're the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
I don't abuse my supervisory power.
Apparently not in that case.